Hi guys. So me and my wife we either made the biggest mistake of our lives, or the best decision that perhaps we could ever make. After several years, and I mean more than a decade and a half, showing my age there. We've decided to pack up the comfortable and convenient life living in Singapore and move over to the rural provincial life in the Philippines. We've got half a plan, very few skills in the areas that we need, and maybe a touch of a midlife crisis aiding us along the way. I don't know. But anyway, this is our story. The channel is committed to kind of documenting the journey and the sort of the trials, the ups and downs, and whatever that we'll face in this transition to a new, completely different way of life. I'll go into a little bit more detail in a few minutes, but I think if you're someone that is considered these kind of life changes, maybe not moving from different countries, but significant career change, or just uprooting yourself and trying something different, then I think maybe the channel is for you. You might find some of this interesting. Similarly, if you're into farming, homesteads, general tomfoolery, as watching people make a transition, then you might enjoy this as well. Follow along, and yeah, I will go through a few points just to sort of introduce us and the channel before I sign off this first probably awful test video, just to get me uploading something and moving on. So who are we? I'm Carl. My wife is Van. She's not around at the moment, but I'll introduce her at some point. As I mentioned, both of us have been living in Singapore collectively for about 35 years, I think. I've been there over 15 years, and Van had been there for about 20 years. I'm originally from the UK, if you can't tell from the accent, and Van is from the Philippines. So obviously we've got married, we lived in Singapore, and yeah, we decided to move over to the Philippines. What is it that we're seeking? What's the trade-off? We both had reasonable jobs. Van was a teacher. I was managing regional operations for an international company. And we, at some point, decided that we needed a change. It was difficult to put our fingers on for a long time, but after coming backwards and forwards to the Philippines and experiencing that kind of rural, provincial life, something was niggling that this was something that we wanted to try more closely. And similarly, living in Singapore, and this is something that I'll probably go into in a lot more detail in this dedicated video, but living in Singapore, although it's convenient and safe and clean, there was something missing. There's something lacking in terms of just living life and experiencing stuff that I felt somehow we could regain that if we moved to the Philippines, for rightly or wrongly. We've only been here for a few weeks at this point. There's a few stories that I can tell already. There's a lot of guessing, a lot of questioning that we've been doing, but ultimately it's a decision that we made collectively, and one that we stuck with, we pushed through with, and now we're sort of living the repercussions of. So what is the plan that we've intended on coming here? Obviously we're not, well, I hope you can tell, I'm a bit grey, but I'm not retirement age, and we're not rich and wealthy and able to live off of investment trusts, funds, or whatever else. So what are we planning on doing? Well, we did buy a farm, about 18 hectares in the middle of nowhere. So that's going to be our long-term goal. There's a lot of visions and dreams that we've got behind that. Again, probably another video, but essentially that's our sort of mainstay, is to try and set up a farm, get it running, and make some level of income from that. We have a few other sort of sideline ideas as well, completely different from where we came from, and this is stuff that I'll get into at a later date. But yeah, pretty much we are just jumping into the provincial, rural Philippines life. We're staying in a house that we own, thankfully, so we don't have any rental payments. But we're in the sticks in Negros Occidental in the Philippines. Yeah, like I said, we have half a plan, and it sort of hinges around the farm. We'll get into more detail as we go forward. What are the fears and unknowns behind this transition? There are many. The toughest thing was letting go of what I call the golden handcuff. When you're used to fixed salary, I'm sure many of you know this, but trading your time for a fixed salary institutionalizes you into this sort of realm of comfort and stability that is difficult to let go of. The older we get, the harder that gets as well. And when I got into my mid-40s, yes, midlife crisis kind of zone, but the salary itself, the money itself, wasn't as fulfilling as I wanted it to be, or maybe I hoped it would be, and it was still leaving something missing. So yes, there's a lot of fear and unknown about what we're doing. Both of us have gone through a lot of emotional ups and downs that I will probably try to articulate better in a separate video as well. But definitely we've been questioning ourselves a lot, and wondering if we've made the right decision, second guessing the plan, the future, looking for that sort of path to revenue as quickly as we can. And yeah, many things can go wrong, but everything can go right. And we came here with a positive mental attitude that I'm hoping won't get broken along the way. Yeah, I mean, that is the reality of what we've done, right? That's if we'd have waited until we had enough money to not worry about anything, either we'd never have made the change. We would have got older and older and less confident to make that kind of switch, or we would be too old by that point to even enjoy it. The fact, we have a farm, and I might still be daft enough to try and get out and try and ride a buffalo or carabao. At the moment, I couldn't do that in 10 years' time when I'm sort of, closer to retirement age. The last things is what's the channel about? That for me, the channel is just to document what we're doing. If for nothing else, to show my friends and family some of what we get up to. We've got a lot of lofty, aspirational hopes with the farm, around sustainable practices, getting the community involved. There's things that we want to do that I think will be interesting to document, and that some people, me included, because I watched some similar content from other creators. So it's really a documentary of our transition. We've already met a few people around here that are absolutely cracking people, really know their stuff, and they're willing to help, and just very genuine. So it's been, in that sense, been a very good experience so far. So anyway, yeah, I've waffled on for way longer than I probably should have. Subscribe, all that nonsense, and look out for more videos. Anyway, thanks, and see you in the next one.